Are you aware that most counsellors, coaches, therapists, and healthcare professionals have little or no autism awareness training? I know from recent research that so many autistic clients and patients aren't receiving the support they deserve and need just to be themselves and live fulfilling lives. The traditional doctor patient model isn't working, and interventions can arise from a narrative that frames autism as pathological. These are reinforced by things like the rhetoric of tragedy and a so called epidemic, which has led to interventions presented as remedies and are often aimed at reducing autism's perceived burden on health, education, and economic systems. The hegemony of the autos, the self, is owned by the predominant neurotype. And in healthcare, this means it's a deficiency to be fixed, and clients can get stuck in negative systems and thought systems. Healing and recovery from a lifetime of traumatizing experiences and as an autistic person is very different to most of what's on offer in current training and healing and helping spaces. Behavioral models such as CBT, where cognitive distortions assume typical modes of thinking, are commonplace, and even person-centered approaches place expectations upon the client to speak and behave in certain ways and fully understand their own emotions. If you and your clients are not starting out as equals, the double empathy problem grows. Things that are important in the relationship become lost, and then power over is maintained, which is at best useless for autistic people who've learned not to trust authority. At worst, there is further conditioning, reinforcing trauma and triggering. Clearly, that's not what we want for us, or more importantly, the people that we care about. The neurodiversity paradigm is a useful starting point for us to refocus where everyone is equal. Neurodiversity simply means we're all different. As in most professional helping models, and central to my philosophy, is the belief that we should honour the autonomy and agency of each person. Helping and healing is not about imposing solutions or guiding someone towards a predetermined outcome. Rather, it's about creating a space where they feel safe to explore and discover and grow at their own pace in their own way. My journey as a facilitator, coach, and a parent has taught me that the helper is not the expert in the client's life. The client is. The helper's role is to act as a compassionate guide, facilitating a process of self-exploration that empowers people to find their own answers and solutions. This takes real humility, and even more so across neurotypes. Humility and equity are especially important when working with neurodivergent people. The concept of humility is essential in the helping relationship, where it's vital to approach each client with an open mind, free from assumptions or judgments. Through experience, both personally and professionally, I became deeply aware of the systemic trauma that impacts all autistic people. This trauma isn't just psychological, it's embedded in the very structures that define our society. Autistic people often experience repeated invalidation. Social expectations formed by neurotypical standards reinforce a sense of being out of place. So I decided something needed to change, not just for me, but for the entire autism community. Focusing on the dialogic environment shows us how to create inclusive, neurodivergent, affirming, healing spaces. The Autism Dialogue Approach emphasizes the co-creation of safe environments where everyone is respected, heard, and valued. Over the past decade, autism has shifted rapidly from a fixed label and category into a question and an opportunity for exploring what it means to be a self and what selfhood is. As we know, the root word of autism is self. Dialogue is not just about understanding autism, it's about exploring the nature of oneself in a radical, dynamic, and generative way. So I challenge the view that an individual person can be deficient or damaged in the autistic sense without involving the complexity of fragmented systems and thought. This might seem plainly obvious, but I argue that it's due exactly to that assumption that we've got stuck, and stuck we are. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society.